Hey neighbors, Tom Zapolsky here. Listen, we have an important meeting tomorrow evening where we've brought two committees together. Our governance committee, and they're responsible, their primary task this year is to examine and help bring our governing documents up to speed. I'll let that committee speak to their work and they'll present to our community their body of work at some point in the future. And don't let that make you anxious either. There's just some important updates from a legislative and legal perspective we need to make. And we got 22 people with different ideas kind of grappling with that. Let's set that down for a second. Because of the fact that they look at our governing documents, which typically consist of three different documents, we wanted them to take a look at the policy that was passed in July from multiple perspectives. How does it impact current rules? What edits or revisions would need to be made? How does it drive with Florida statute? What are the fiscal impacts of that policy? Just kind of unpack that a little bit. And we asked the security committee, of which I chair, to also come alongside that, to join in a joint committee meeting, and we would look at it probably more from an operational perspective. Can security patrol? What is the current security contract? What are those types of things? So that we could really, as a community, appreciate the impact the policy will have. The reason I'm reaching out to you today is just as a reminder, first, that meeting will occur and you're welcome to attend it. Committee meetings are always open to owners. And if there are committees you're interested in sitting on, we can talk about that. We love owners that are willing to step up and serve. But we need to recognize that, and I know we say this, but we always think we're talking about someone else, right? When we say the words, we're going to have to compromise. There are going to be some changes. I know that we'll have to get used to some new things. But I think in our mind, it's natural to think somebody else is going to have to adjust their expectations, right? It is likely that wherever we land on this, the policy will be imperfect in that it creates friction or it reduces street parking in some way, right? Either the physical size available to you, or the volume of street parking, or perhaps your ability to be the only one that parks in front of your house. And it'll take a combination of ideas for us to move forward and for us to affect change here. So I wanted to alert you to that, just so that we can go into this eyes wide open. And I would like us to consider discomforts, inconveniences, pale in comparison to banning parking community wide. And I have faith that we can adopt a policy and implement it, and we may groan a little. You know, it's new, it's different. I used to always be able to park over there, and now I can, or whatever will happen. But my backstop on that is I'm grateful that we can still find a way forward, some middle ground in which we can retain parking on our streets and our community to some degree. And I'm not teasing you. I don't know where this can land, but if you look at Facebook, you'll see that there's lots of different ideas. Some of these are very difficult from numerous perspectives, but I'm glad we're unpacking them, because sometimes one idea leads to another, or one idea leads to a compromise of that idea that's effective. And that's where we're going to go. That's where we're going to get to as a community. The board is grappling with this, and we probably have more friction and the temperature's higher within our body than it has been since I've served. And admittedly, it's because people are passionate about the community and about this subject. But I remind myself, it's the subject, it's the policy, it's the process, the procedure, it's other things, but it's not the individual. It's not the human attached to it. All of us are working on ideas. All of you are working on ideas, and it may be the idea that we very much disagree with, but recognizing, hey, we have an owner trying to contribute. So please just keep that in mind, that we're likely going to land in an area that is new. In a 735 owners, it may present an inconvenience. My appeal to you before I even know what the policy is that you come along with us. We've grappled with this as a community. We need to bring it to a conclusion. Ride with us. Let's implement a policy. Let's move through our busy season and evaluate how it worked. A new board will be sat in August. I don't know what the composition of that board will be. I don't know if I have current board members that intend on running again, but we will, as a body, elect new board members. And in August, they will establish their governance and who the president is and all the things. In September, they could look back over the season and say, here were some things that went well. Here were some things that did not work well. Here were problems we addressed. And then we could have that off season to make modifications. I look too at what I can do as an owner. What can I do personally? I'm trying to find a way that I rent my place very few weeks out of the year. We use it a lot. But I also appreciate the rental income as it offsets taxes and insurance. I make my own mortgage payment, don't need it. If renters went away, it's okay. But since it's available and we don't use it during certain times of the year, I do that. But I very much am going to ask that my rental, when it's rented, that the number of cars that are available to fit in my driveway. Now I can fit 3, but with the golf cart, I can fit 2. And so my request, and I'll connect with my rental agent, is that when you rent my house, it is able to receive 2 vehicles maximum. Trying to figure out how to implement that operationally on Venture Outside. But I think if you will look at your world, if you only have 1 parking spot and rent your home, what can you do to help the situation? What is your contribution to the process? So anyways, thanks for checking this out, and we're gonna get there soon. We have spring break coming up. We've got to make sure we communicate clearly as to what's going down. And I thank you for your contributions so far and for your patience as we work through this. All right. Good morning.